Hello all, welcome back. So this is the sixth lecture of Transportation Engineering 2. So in this lecture we are going to discuss about the geometric design of railway track. So far we had covered the basic features of a railway track. We discussed about the different types of rails that we are using in the railway track. Then we discussed about the creep, then other deformities that may happen to the railway tracks. So in the rest of this module, we will be more focusing on the geometric design of the track. In this lecture, we will be covering the basics of geometric design of a railway track. So let's go. In this module, we will discuss these basic points regarding the geometric design of a railway track. It includes gradient in the track, including grade compensation, rising gradient, and falling gradient. Moving further, we will come across with the term curvature, the curvature of track. We generally provides two types of curves. The curves may be a horizontal curve or a vertical. We will discuss that in detail about these two types of curves in this module. We already discussed the next point, the alignment of track. Where should the railway track must go? What are the points that must be included while designing a track, while aligning a track? We already discussed this topic at the beginning of this module. Next we will discuss about the radius of the track, grade compensation, super elevation or cant in detail. So these are the basic design features of a railway track. And why we should adopt a design? Why we should go for a design before laying a track? That is the necessity of geometric design. Geometric design literally means the design of all physical features which have been provided so as to have smooth operation of the system. Without a proper designing, we cannot plan and we cannot execute the work as per the schedule. We must have a design before we start a plan how to execute that work. So geometric design is a very much necessary, or it's an important thing while designing or while planning to align a track to connect two different points. The advantages of a proper design are it can ensure the safe and smooth running of trains. With a proper designing, we can achieve maximum speed for the locomotives. If the track is intended to carry heavy axle loads, proper designing is necessary. Otherwise, derailment or accidents may happen. As said earlier, proper design can avoid accidents and derailments. Geometric design can ensure that the track requires least maintenance, thereby reducing the maintenance cost and makes the process more economic. It also focuses on the aesthetics of the track. It must give a pleasing journey for the passengers that travel through that track. We already covered this topic, alignment in the beginning of this module, and we will revise that in a quick manner. So what is an alignment? The alignment is the line in space through which the connectivity is provided between two places. Usually we provide horizontal or vertical alignments. And why the alignment is necessary, or the basic necessities or the basic features of alignment that we discussed already in this module. So I am not going in detail to these topics again. Moving further, we have to focus more on curves, because we know that curves are the most important parts of a track. We have to provide utmost care while designing a curve in the railway track, especially in the railway track, because heavy loads are coming into the tracks through the wagons. So we have to provide a smooth movement for these locomotives through the rails so that the load transfer will be smooth, and thus we can ensure the safety and smooth movement of the vehicles. Generally, two types of curves are provided in the design of railway tracks. The curves may be a horizontal curve or a vertical curve. Curves are generally provided where the change in direction is required. Change in direction of movement of any moving objects is required. Horizontal curves are required to change the direction of movement of train, while the vertical curves are required to join two gradients at the point they meet so as to provide smooth movement. So both the horizontal curves and vertical curves are necessary for the alignment of curves. Moving further, we will discuss about the objections to the provision of curve. Why we should try to avoid the curves in the path. Engineers try their level best to provide or to align the track in a straight path. Because as I already mentioned, curves are prone to accidents and derailments. We have to ensure the safety of the passengers, and we have to ensure the smooth movement for the vehicles. So curves are rarely fitted in the alignment. If the curves are providing, the utmost care should be there while designing a curve. The curves prevent the use of heavy locomotives. Since the curves are prone to accidents, the derailment may causes in these portions of the track. Curves causes unequal distribution of load. Running is not smooth on the curves, and these are highly dangerous places, or these are vulnerable to derailments and accidents. Many fittings are required to ensure the safety of vehicles moving through these curves. So the installation cost will be much higher than comparing to a straight aligned path of track. We should avoid curves in the following locations of the railway track. Curves should be avoided in bridges, tunnels and viaducts, because the vision should be clear for the loco pilot while moving through a tunnel or a bridge. So curves should not be provided in the bridges, tunnels and viaducts. We should avoid curves in bridge approaches, level crossings, deep cuttings, steep gradients, station yards and yard approaches. So in the topic curve, we will discuss about the term degree of curve that you already studied in the geomatics of S5. You already covered these topics, so I am not going much into these topics again. The degree of curve. What is the degree of curve? The degree of curve is the angle subtended at the center of curve by a chord of 30.5 meter or 100 feet length. It is the angle subtended at the center. It is the angle subtended at the center by a 30 meter length chord, by a 30 meter length chord or 100 feet length chord. So you must remember the definition of the term degree of curve. It is a central angle. The degree of curve is generally measured using the empirical equation D is equal to 1750 by R, where R is the radius of curve. R is the radius of curve. So this will be the R, and we can calculate the degree of curve using this empirical equation. You must remember, you must recollect all these equations that you studied in the S5 geomatics paper. Now we will discuss about the maximum value of degree of curvature provided in plane tracks and turnout, which may change according to the gauge differences. If the track is broad gauged track, for plane track, the maximum degree of curvature is 10 degree, and for the turnout, broad gauge turnouts, the maximum degree is 8 degree. The track is meter gauged. For plane tracks, the degree of curvature is 16 degree, and for turnouts, it's 15 degree. For narrow gauge tracks, maximum degree is 40, and in the turnouts, it will be 70 degree. You must remember this tabular column, and you can expect some questions from this table. The next one is the versine of curve. Versine of curve. Sorry, I missed an S here. The versine of curve. All these topics will be familiar for you. We already discussed about the versine of horizontal curves and vertical curves in the S5 the geomatics paper. So I am not going much deep into this topic again, but you have to remember some equations for the versine of curves. What is a versine? What is the versine of a curve? Versine of the curve is this height is termed as versine of curve. It's a versine of curve. So we have to measure this versine of curve in order to align a curve. This is an important measurement in order to install these curves in the track. So we have to take the measurement of this versine. So versine can be measured using this equation. V is equal to C square by 8R. V is equal to C square divided by 8R, where R is the radius of the curvature and C is the chord length. C is the chord length. You can see the chord BE here, right? The BE chord, and its length is C. So the versine can be measured using this equation, V equal to C square by 8R, where C is the chord length and R is the radius of the circle, or R is the radius of the curvature. We can easily calculate the versine distance from this empirical equation. This is an important measurement for the alignment of a horizontal curve. So you have to remember this equation. You can expect some problems using this equation. You may be asked to calculate the versine distance by giving the chord length and the radius of the curve in the examination. So you have to remember this equation. Now we will discuss about an interesting topic, setting out horizontal curve, that you already discussed in the S5 of geomatics. So I am not going into the details of setting out of horizontal curves. It is not mentioned in the syllabus also, but you have to be familiar with these methods, because you can expect questions from this portion also, since you already studied these topics in the S5. So setting out of simple horizontal curves. There are two methods of setting out of curves depending upon the instruments used. There are two methods. The first one is linear method and the next one is angular method. You can set out horizontal curves using these two methods, linear methods and angular methods. Among these, the linear methods are most popular and simple, and we can easily set out curves using the linear methods. And what are the linear methods? The linear methods of setting out of curves are, the first one is offsets from long chord. Offsets from long chord. I'm not going into the details of these methods. And the second one is successive bisection of chords. Successive bisection of chords. And the third one is offsets from the tangents. Offsets from tangents. And the fourth one is offsets from the chords produced. Offsets from chords produced. So these are the four linear methods for the setting out of a simple circular curve. And we can set out the curves using the theodolites also. So the methods or the angular methods are, the first one is two theodolite method. Angular methods of setting out of curve. Angular methods. There are two types of angular methods. The first one is two theodolite method. Two theodolite method, and second one is Rankine's method. Rankine's method. So you all are familiar with these methods. So I am not going into details of these methods again. So you have to refer the textbooks of geomatics for further information regarding the setting out of horizontal curves. As I already mentioned, you can expect some questions from setting out of horizontal curves. And next we will discuss about an important topic, super elevation or cant. Super elevation or cant. What is super elevation? Super elevation, we all are familiar with this topic since from the 8th standard, while we are discussing about the centripetal and centrifugal forces. We already discussed about this term super elevation. It is the difference between the height of outer and inner rail on a curve. In a curve there will be an inner rail and an outer rail. So there will be this difference in the heights of these two rails. This is the outer rail and this is the inner rail. And outer rail will be elevated and inner rail will be in a normal position. So the height difference between these inner and outer rails is known as super elevation. It is the difference between the height of outer and inner rail on a curve. Here, the inner rail is taken as a reference rail and is maintained at the original level. Inner rail will be the reference rail. And the outer rail will be elevated with respect to the original level of the inner rail. Since the inner rail is selected as the reference rail, it is known as a gradient rail. It is known as a gradient rail. Next we will discuss about the objectives of providing super elevation. By providing super elevation, we can utilize the effect of centrifugal force that causes while the movement of locomotives through the curves. Thereby we can ensure the equal distribution of wheel loads, and that will provide a smooth track and improving the passenger comfort. It also helps to reduce the wear and tear of the rails and the rolling stock.